Hi guys, this is Anejath and welcome to another episode of Beatworx Presents Gear Reviews. Today we have a special sound card with us, that is the Audient EVO 4, and we're going to be diving into it, looking at it, reviewing it and deciding whether it's a good sound card or no. Let's jump right in. So here we are folks, back in the studio, and we're gonna open this box up and have a look at what's inside. So let's dive right into that. So yeah, it's got a nice black box here with the branding on top, and here we have a quick start guide which we'll get into in a bit. Then we're going to take this off, and here we have it, the main unit itself. I'm just going to remove this out of the plastic cover that they've provided.
One eternity later.
Here we are guys, this is how the main unit looks like, and I must say this looks very nice, very clean, very slick. So that's the main unit itself. I'm going to put the box aside, and other than the main unit, we have of course a cable that you get underneath inside the box. I'm just going to take that out as well. That is right over here. So that pretty much sums up what you get in the box. Very simple. You of course don't need much with the sound card because you get everything you need inside the box itself, and that's of course the main unit itself and the cable. So coming to of course the performance and other things like that, and the design itself, as you can see, it's pretty compact and nice black design that it's got. And a little about the sound card, of course. A lot of you may be thinking that a sound card is usually meant for music makers and producers, but this sound card is not just for music makers and producers. It's a little different. It's been specifically designed, and the features have been curated and designed in such a way that it appeals to not just music makers, but also for podcasters, video bloggers, and even gamers. If you're someone who likes streaming your games or doing podcasts or anything like that, this sound card is going to be very helpful for you. And we are going to be going into how it makes it so useful and so versatile for you to use. And of course, with the audio converters that are in there from Audient, the sound quality that you get is absolutely exceptional right off the bat, I can tell you that. And to top it all off, if you buy any of the Audient sound cards, including this EVO 4 right here, you get some free goodies from Audient under their Arc program, which is basically like a program for to encourage beginner musicians. So you get things like Steinberg and Waldorf plugins. You get access to Loop Cloud, which, if you don't know, is a online platform where you have access to many loop libraries that'll be very useful for music makers, and a lot more extra add-ons that you get along with the sound card itself. So that's a fantastic offer. And one offer that I can provide you with from Beatworx is a small contest that we're running for this very sound card right here, which is right here in front of me. If you'd like to win this piece in particular, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe, watch it till the end, and leave a comment about your favorite piece of gear that you have in your studio or you'd like to have. And one lucky winner will be getting an additional discount on this particular sound card. And so leave your comments and likes and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you will be one of the lucky ones to get that special discount. So as we have gone through all the contents of the box and all the extra add-ons that you get for this sound card, let's have a look at our consumer top 3, which is basically top 3 things that you as a consumer must look at while you're considering buying a good sound card for your studio or for any other purpose. So according to me, the 3 top things for a good sound card should be durability, connectivity and features, and of course the sound. So during the course of this video, we will be covering these points in relation to the sound card, and we will look at how it fares in this review. And if you want the prize, all you have to do is wait for the end of the video and we will reveal it to you for sure. So point number 1, which we covered in our consumer top 3, is the durability, which again is very straightforward in a sound card like this, which is as you can tell, black in color. It's got a very compact build. It's got these rubber panels at the bottom that's supported from the bottom, and the overall body is actually made from plastic, but all the internal components are a mix of metal and silicone as per the electronics. And in terms of the feel of the knobs, they feel very firm. They've got a nice clicky feel to them, including all the buttons. They seem very good quality buttons. And the knob itself, which is the main feature, has a nice smooth spin to it, and it's got a few clicks in there as well, which you can feel, you can't really hear, and it feels good to turn the knob. So that again can be appealing to a lot of people. Very good moving parts overall, a compact form factor. It's super portable. You can put this in a backpack directly and it won't get damaged because of the good quality and the compact form factor that it has. Very heavy in term, like compared to how it looks. It may not look very heavy, but it is got that little bit of weight, which again adds to the appeal of having a good sturdy and solid sound card overall, with a good robust build. So that pretty much covers the durability of the sound card. Let's move on to the next one. So folks, here we have the Audient EVO 4 all set up, connected to the computer, and just so you know, the Audient EVO 4 connects via a USB-C cable directly from the unit itself and to the computer, and it's USB bus powered, so you don't need to power it separately. That's a good thing, and that's what actually makes it quite portable. So let's have a look at some of the connections that are provided on the outside of the unit. As you can see, besides the USB cable on the back here, you have two outputs basically, which are for your studio monitors that you can connect that to, just so you can have a look here. And then you have these two connections here, which is a dual input, so you can connect either an XLR or a TRS cable into this, and these are inputs basically. So you can connect a microphone from an instrument if you like, or any other kind of input from a synthesizer, a drum machine, whatever you like. And a bonus aspect for this is you have another input right here in the front, which is also called a DI input, which is a JFET input, which is ideally meant for things like guitars and bass guitars and keyboards and stuff like that, and the sound quality from this will be suitable for that as well. And other than that, in the front, as you can see over here, you on the right, you have a headphone input. So that is something that's very cool about the outer connections, that covers everything that you would need in a small portable studio or a simple setup that you would require. So when you compare it to, say, the Audient ID4, which I have one with me right here, and I've been using it for almost about 2 years now. I think this sound card was launched in 2016. So I have it right here. I'm just gonna move this here so I can place the Audient ID4 here. So as you can see, these sound cards are actually within this very similar price range. And even then, like the EVO 4 is slightly superior, and I'll get to that in a second. So you have both these sound cards here, so you can see it side by side comparison. So of course, the main difference with the ID4, of course, is the ID4 is a full metal body, which makes it quite durable and sturdy, and it's lasted me in the studio for quite a while, and it hasn't lost any of its sound quality. It still sounds as good as new. So that's fantastic about it. But that is again something that's been carried over to the EVO 4 as well, which is a fantastic thing. And one bonus that I feel that you get with the EVO 4 is in the ID4 you actually just get two inputs. One is in the back here, and one over here, which is again a direct input, which is a JFET input in the front. But I'm just going to put this aside. But in the EVO 4, as I mentioned, you get three of them. There's two in the back and one in the front. So if you'd like to connect maybe like a synthesizer or any kind of instrument that has a stereo output, you can connect it to these inputs here and take the sound in. And other than that, you can parallelly connect any kind of live instruments in the front over here, which makes it very good for live jams, recording with your friends, or even using it for many other purposes. And coming to the compatibility of the sound card, it's compatible fully with Windows and Mac. And for Mac, you, as most of you may be knowing, with most sound cards, it works this way. All you need to do is just connect it and it pretty much starts working straight away. But with Windows, in my example, because I'm using a Windows computer, I'll have to download the EVO 4 drivers, which I'm going to do right now. And that should pretty much solve it. And I should be able to start using it right away. As you can see, there's some audio signal already coming because I decided to test it out before I use the drivers. So the drivers in most cases is usually a precaution for stability. So that's what the drivers are for. And once you're set up with the speakers and with your headphones, so another thing that you would like to take note, I think, which I thought was very cool. So if you're someone who uses in your studio, if you like to use studio monitors, as well as a headphone at the same time, so you have an option where once your studio monitors are connected, if you connect the headphone in and you start adjusting the volume, the output for the studio monitors will get muted automatically. That happens as soon as you plug in the headphones. So that, I think, is a very interesting to take note, that these speakers go off as soon as you connect your headphones. So that's very convenient as well. And of course, I don't need to mention that the Audient inputs and outputs are the best in class, not just for this price point, for most price points, because they usually model their inputs and outputs, the preamps as well as the converters, from their their heritage edition and like their more high-end products. So the quality that you get even in these low-end products, which is the starting line, is absolutely professional and superb that you're getting for the price. And coming to the buttons themselves, let me just go over what these buttons do and the basic functionality of, what makes the buttons and the usability of the features that is present in the sound card and how they can be very useful for you. So starting on the right side, you have a volume button here. So as soon as you press the volume button, you can use the volume knob for everything. So the basic design idea behind this headphone, before I go further, I'd like to mention, is basically using this central knob as like a universal control for almost everything here on the sound card, because at the end it's all about volumes with sound card. So all you need to do is press one of these assigned buttons and then just turn the knob, and it will do what you want it to do according to the buttons you have pressed on the sound card itself. So for example, in the volume knob, if you press the volume knob, you can adjust the volume according to that. Then you have this, which is basically the monitor mix button. So this is something again which is very interesting, that's been there in the Audient sound cards from before as well. So if I'm just going to bring the Audient ID4 into the frame again, so the monitor mix button that you have was a knob in the ID4, which is this knob here, and as you can see, it's got an option to switch between the input device and the DAW, which is basically being able to switch or mix between the direct input that you're getting into your sound card versus the input that your computer is sending to the sound card via USB. So for example, if you're making a beat on Ableton and one of your friends is playing a live keyboard and that's going through the direct input in front of the sound card, you can actually press this and hold this, and mix between those two, and you can adjust the volumes. And another thing you can adjust with that is the panning. So you can adjust each side of the input going from left to right or right to left. So that is something that you can adjust and add a bit more dynamics to while you're jamming. So that is again quite cool there. And for condenser microphones, for a lot of you who will be using condenser microphones or any kind of microphones, you would preferably like to send it to one of these mic preamps here in the back, which are absolutely good quality, highest quality that you can get in this price range, the kind of mic preamps, and you have two of them, of course. And for people using condenser microphones, back to that, you have a 48-volt button here. So that's basically the phantom power that you need to run most condenser microphones. So all you need to do to run the condenser microphone is press the channel you've connected on. So for example, if you've connected your microphone on channel 1, you press channel 1 and then just press 48 volts and it will turn on this way. As you can see, that red light came on and the lights came on. That means it's set. So this is something that's a beautiful function here with the EVO 4 and what makes it pretty cool to use. So we have covered most of the main features that is there on the surface of the sound card. So let's dive into a really interesting feature that's also there, is called the Smart Gain feature, which is again a specialty of the EVO series and this EVO 4, and is a new addition to the Audient sound cards, which is an automatic gain setting feature. So that of course works with this green button here, which is what it's used for. And what it does is basically it takes the input of any instrument that you're bringing into the sound card through any of the inputs, measures how much it's either loud or soft in comparison to anything else you may be bringing in, and adjust the volume of it according to that. So that is something that's very useful, especially if you're using it in a scenario where you're using it with live jamming or with live instruments, or even in the studio for that matter. Sometimes you need help with adjusting the volume, or you want to do it efficiently, and you need a little help with that. So the Smart Gain option is pretty cool. So how it works is, all you need to do is press this green button here, and as you can see, I've already selected channel 1. So as soon as I press the green button, the lights here starts flashing and there's a red light here that you can see, which basically indicates that the Smart Gain option is now active. So what that means is, so as of now, as you can see, I don't really have any instrument connected to this, but what it does is, if I did have an instrument connected to this, say like a drum machine, a synthesizer, or even in the front if I had like a guitar or a keyboard plugged in, it would take the input, measure the input over a period of time, which is not more than a few seconds usually, and then adjust the volume of it within a few seconds. So that is something that's very useful, but as you can see, as of now, I don't really have any instrument connected, so that's why the lights went off and then this just turned red. So that is something you can try it out. So again, a very useful feature. Another very cool feature that I think is can be very useful for a lot of, again, live musicians as well as studio musicians, is a simultaneous volume control for channel 1 and 2. So say for example, you have a scenario where on channel 1 you have a drum machine connected, and on channel 2 you have a synthesizer connected, and you've adjusted the volumes according to what the instruments sound like individually. But then you decide that I need to maybe, adjust the volume a little bit, reduce it on both simultaneously, but I've spent so much time adjusting the balance between the two instruments, I'm afraid that if I touch the individual knobs on each instrument, I might lose that balance. So in the sound card, you don't have to worry about that. All you need to do is hold down these two buttons here of channel 1 and 2, and then turn the volume knob, and that will simultaneously turn down or up both the volumes on both instruments, on both inputs. So that is something, again, I think is an extremely useful feature, especially if you have multiple instruments and you're jamming with them and you want to balance the volumes, because that is of course very important, as we all know. So once you have set up your sound card and you've set up all the speakers, headphone, or whatever paraphernalia you like to connect with the sound card, the next thing you would want to do is download the drivers from the Audient website, set it up, and again, you can also connect this sound card to any streaming service you may be using. You may use it via Twitch or any other streaming service or recording device that you may be using. All you need to do is select this sound card as the input and output device, and you are basically good to go to use the sound card in any different platform that you like. So folks, the segment of our video that you've all been waiting for, the review about how it sounds. So again, stressing on the fact that Audient uses converters and drivers and preamps that are the same ones that they use in their extremely high-end mixing desks in like $1 million studios. So I think though that actually kind of sums up what you pretty much need to know about the sound. But anyway, let's dive into some of the specifics of the sound. And I've run a test, of course, with the Audient ID4 that you saw earlier, which I've been using for over 2 years, and of course the brand new EVO 4. And I must say there is a very subtle difference between the sound systems in both these sound cards, according to me at least. And I've tested them both on my studio monitors. I have the Kali Audio studio monitors, and I have also tested them on my headphones, which is the Pioneer HTJ X5. So if you want to check out the review of that, by the way, just go into the description. I will link the review there so you can go back and check that out, which is a very good DJ headphone. But anyway, coming back to this sound card here, it has class leading converters and preamps, as I said. And when I say class leading, I mean that literally, because in this class you will not find better quality converters and preamps than in these sound cards. Then for the inputs, according to me, I personally noticed that the EVO 4 is a slightly more sparkly and robust sounding than the Audient ID4, which sounds very warm and very slightly low and heavy as well. But the EVO 4 sounds very sparkly in the high end, which is of course very nice. And the direct input, especially in the front, has a very warm and rich sound, which is very desirable for people using live instruments like guitars and bass guitars and violins or keyboards. So that is something that's a very good plus point there. Another specification here is that the distortion, the amount of harmonic distortion that you get in the mic preamps is very, very low. It's in fact lower than all of its competitors in this price range. If you don't trust me, you can go and do your research online. There are people who have taken professional measurements of the distortion in their professional studio. Unfortunately, I don't have such high-end equipment to do that measurement here, but that is something you can actually go and check out online if you don't believe me. It's the lowest in its class, even beating out some of the other good sound cards in this price range like the SSL or even the Motu M2. And the other plus point for the sound card is got a very high dynamic range. Now, for those of you who don't know what dynamic range means, it means basically the difference or the range between the hottest part of the signal, or like the most loudest part of the signal versus the most softest part of the signal. So that is actually what makes music kind of pleasurable to hear, is a delicate balance between the volumes of the loudest part and the softest part, and the difference between them that creates a very dynamic effect, and hence the name dynamic range. So the dynamic range for this particular sound card is at 115.7 dB amplitude, which is quite high, again eclipsing any other sound card in this price range, which the sound card has been doing so far very well. Again, another pet peeve that I have with a lot of sound cards and with a lot of instruments and sound card combinations is a bit of noise, or in technical terms, the noise floor, which is a common phenomenon that happens with using microphones and analog synthesizers, or even digital synthesizers for that matter. So a noise floor is basically how much noise it generates when there's nothing playing. To put it in very simple terms, I know a lot of audiophiles might be listening to me and going, that is not entirely correct, but again, I'm trying to put this across in the simplest way I possibly can. So a noise floor is basically that. So nobody likes noise. So once you connect any of the instruments, and once it's off, and once the sound card is on but it's inactive, preferably you would not like to hear anything and you would like complete silence. And that is what this sound card delivers. It delivers almost complete silence with an extremely, extremely low noise flow. The audio output, on the other hand, is can get quite loud. It can get because even though it's taking the voltage that it requires directly from the computer, it can get quite loud in the tests that I've done, almost as much as the Audient ID4. So there's not much of a difference there in terms of dynamic range and the volume that you can actually crank it up to. And even then, the audio output is extremely transparent, and it's quite neutral as well. Again, there have been a lot of tests that people have done online about these sound cards, measuring how much of time that they can go on for, and basically what kind of frequencies that they emit, and the kind of graphs. So there are a lot of people again who have done measurements. You can go online and find them, and what they've seen across a majority of these tests and experiments that they've done is that this sound card provides an exceptionally neutral and flat response, which is of course the most desirable thing that you can hear about a sound card, is that what you're getting from the audio output and what you hear is nothing less than absolute transparency. So another benefit here of the sound card being connected via USB is a very low latency in the recording and the output. So you have, again, latency is quite an issue with some of the sound cards, is again where the sound travels between the sound card from the computer and vice versa, or from instruments into the sound card and then into the computer. So that chain of traveling of sound can cause a little bit of loss in quality at times, or could be an issue with timing. That's what latency basically means. And in this sound card also, the latency of that is very low. The latency of information exchange between sound card and anything it's connected to is very low. So that again adds to the sound. So all these things that I've mentioned may seem a little bit technical, but again, it adds to the experience, it adds to what you're hearing, and they may not, of course, do complete justice to actually hearing the sound card. So I would encourage you guys to, if you can, go and check out the sound card wherever possible. But if you'd like to take my word for it, I can definitely tell you that buying the sound card is definitely worthwhile for the sound quality that you're getting, is beyond any other sound card in this price range. That is for sure. So guys, in conclusion, this is the conclusion that it's a no-brainer to buy this sound card. I mean, in this price range, if you're buying anything else, especially if it's SSL, I don't know what to tell you guys, because there's not much to say really, because whatever you need is all there in this one package, and it'll fit in my bag, and even a small bag, not even a big bag. And that's just one of the many features that we've covered in this video that makes this sound card an absolute beast, and a superb value for money sound card. So conclusion is equal to no-brainer. So pick it up, guys. Pick up the call, pick up your phone. We leave our contact information in the description. Call us, pick up the sound card. We actually just have one piece left. I'm not joking. This is not a marketing tactic, but yeah, we do actually have one last piece left in our studio available. So if you'd like a fresh brand new piece, give us a call and you can buy it. Or if you'd like the special discount, take part in the contest that I mentioned earlier. And of course, stay tuned for more videos from our side. We'll keep bringing you quality gear reviews and any other tidbits about gear and things like that you may need. So subscribe to our channel, which is already slowly filling up with a lot of fun tutorials, reviews, and other such music related content. And we'll hope to see you soon again in the next video. Cheers, guys.